So I'm trying to bring some very human things to the table when I'm talking about this, so that if there's like average people out there that listen, might pass by and see a naked guy on their feed, be like, yo, what's this guy doing? We can get to him, because the more people like that we can get to who are searching for something but they don't know what it is yet, the better off I think we're going to be in terms of a collective.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Free Yourself Podcast. I am Ryan, Janni, and I am naked. And today's guest, Jehan, the Boundless Authenticity Podcast. Welcome to the Free Yourself Podcast, brother.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. How's it going, my very naked friend?
Always naked. Hashtag that.
Always naked.
When I'm lifting, when I'm DJing, when I'm podcasting, when I'm in the shower, when I'm just in my house, when grilling, when even when it's friggin' 20 degrees here in Jersey. Sometimes I'll bring the flat top out and I'll put it on the stove instead of going outside. But if the sun's out, I'm going outside. I don't care if it's 10 degrees. I'm trying to get as much vitamin D as possible. I don't care.
That's hilarious. I mean, I hope to God you're naked in the shower, man. Like, could you imagine that's the only time you put on a 3-piece suit?
Yeah, right. like every time I shower, I put on a bathing suit instead of like being. That's like some like high school gym locker room after gym, like person scared, like someone who didn't grow up playing sports and showering in front of men all the time. They're like putting on a bathing suit to go in the shower. It's like look, none of us have giant penises. Okay. Everyone watching, there's very few people, and no one's looking at your penis in the shower. I promise.
Except for that one person that's just like magnifying glass. What? Yeah. It appears you have a growth. No, that's my penis.
Right? And like, come on, most of us are growers, not showers, right? So like, if you're growing and you're in the shower, then like, I don't even know what to say after that, because I don't want to get canceled. But maybe I do, because that's a lot of publicity. Shout out to ending it there. Jehan.
Well, hey, man, I wish I could be naked. Well, we got some GMO mosquitoes out here that mean business, so I'm trying to stay covered.
Yeah. So let's start with like, tell everybody who you are, about your podcast, and where you're from.
So I'm Jehan Sattaur, and I'm a mindfulness teacher, a truth teller, a coach, and I'm the host of the Boundless Authenticity Podcast. So what I do is I pretty much show people of all walks of life how to be mindful and how to allow the negative automatic thoughts about the events of the external and all the associated programs that go along with that kind of stuff to reveal themselves fully, so that you can learn to establish deep peace and operate from your sense of purpose and passion. And so a lot of my work focuses on removing disempowering thoughts and beliefs from the subconscious mind, which cause us to create less than favorable emotional consequences and circumstances. So I just work with teaching people different ways to change their internal dialogue, how to clear harsh memories, how to get rid of shitty emotions, how to delete useless information from the subconscious. And, if you're just coming to me to learn how to meditate and stuff as well, then I'll teach you when to meditate, how to meditate, why you have certain thoughts and feelings during that meditation, and how to handle that effectively. And the Boundless Authenticity Podcast really happened as a form of content for my work. And everybody was saying, man, you got to get a podcast. Like when you start talking, it's so interesting. You got to get a podcast. And then I sat there and I tried to make the first episode of the podcast. And I was like, this is really boring just talking by myself. So, I started looking around for colleagues at first, like whoever was doing their thing, whoever I felt had a genuine message, and it just kind of blew up from there. And then I ended up talking to a lot of really crazy and interesting and controversial people. And so that's how that got started, man.
So to everybody listening, do you see why I am having this man on my podcast? Like everybody who watches, listens, follows me on social media knows that this is like my favorite stuff to talk about. Like I have everyone from like DJs, producers, rappers, singers to like artists who paint, artists who spray paint, artists who draw, to health coaches and mindfulness teachers. Like these are like all the things that I love. Like the next step is to be able to like have the coach of like maybe some soccer teams and some hockey teams. Like that's the only thing that's like left. And comedians. Like that's everything I love. So like, but no matter what, all the conversations come back to like mindfulness and like how you've gotten through struggles and how like the last podcast I just did with this guy, Elysian, like his whole thing about how he said he's become such a better producer is all because of his mindfulness and his mindset change. Like I'm just coming in to make music because I love it. Not I need to make the next hit and this needs to be great. And I need to get, this needs to be the song that blows me up and gets me, to the next level. He's like, I just want to make music. That's why I love this. And like that right there, just like is a perfect example of like how all of us benefit from learning even just a little bit here and there about mindfulness and meditation, and studying this stuff just helps every single person in their everyday life. And that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, I would love to actually touch on that because that's a great jumping off point. So I began my journey as a musician, and I still make music to this day. And for me, the best way to describe this feeling as a performer, when you're on stage and the lights are on and you can only hear the stage mix, you don't hear what the audience hears, you don't hear what's coming through the front house speakers or anything like that. So you have to be deeply in tune with every fiber of your being. You have to know what's going on. And it's almost like something reaches down and it touches the top of your head and you turn off. Whatever your personality is turns off, and your entire body, it has been taken over by, let's call it the divine, the creative source. And there's been so many times that I didn't know what I did until the next day. Somebody said, you went off last night. And I was like, really? I was just there playing. Like, what happened? And, you watch a video or something and you're like, yeah, well, I don't necessarily see that as anything special, but people really don't get how much of a performer is their consciousness being hijacked by the creative essence. It doesn't matter like what they're singing, whether it's death metal or, like a reggae or some pop music or what, it doesn't matter. Like genre doesn't matter. It's all creativity expressing itself. And I always loved music. Music is a thing that I knew I wanted to do since I was 9 years old. And by the time I was 10, I'd cleverly harassed my parents to learn how to play something. I wanted to play the drums at first. And my dad was like, well, drums don't have a volume knob. And I was like, well, no shit, Sherlock. So, they got me a guitar, and how I guess that was meant to be, because I remember sitting in the back of my mom's old beat up Subaru on the way home from school, and I started to fall asleep. And I had this vision of myself holding a guitar, walking up and down the stage. And obviously at 9, you're like, well, what the fuck does that mean? So I just kind of followed that. And when I got that guitar, it was like if it was something natural to me. They gave me one of those books by Hal Leonard, and I pretty much went through the whole thing in one night. And I came back out. I started playing everything for my parents. And I was like, look, I learned this. And I just flipped the page, and I was like, I learned this. And they were like, what the fuck is happening? To them, that was such a jaw-dropping moment. Like they were in such denial that like a week later they were like, oh, look, we got to take you to some lessons because we don't understand what you're doing. Like, and I didn't last very long at lessons, to be honest with you. I learned everything that guy told me in the class itself. And by the middle of the week, I was like, you got any other homework for me? I'm done with that. And, for those who don't know what the fuck a cassette is, we used to have to use a tape to record ourselves. And he would record our homework. Like, this is what it should sound like. And you take it home and you listen to it. And I would just like tape over the cassette and take it back to him. So this is me playing it the right way. And he'd be like, you son of a bitch. Like you could tell he was thinking it. And I didn't want to play the acoustic guitar anymore. So I begged my parents for an electric guitar, and I just totally screwed with that guy's head from then on, because I didn't want to play anything he wanted to teach me. I was like, yeah, I'm way past that. I'm playing some fucking rock and roll, man. Like so I didn't last very long there because it was such a natural thing to me. Like that was literally my connection to the divine there. Like nobody could tell me nothing. The only body I was taking orders from was God, straight up. So I totally get how, like, as you said, Elysium that's his name, right? My connection to music strengthened so much more than I thought it ever could when I went through my deepest, darkest times and I came out and I discovered mindfulness. Like I thought I was tapped in and I was doing some pretty out there stuff. And then when that all happened, I realized that I'd been missing out that whole time, even though everything was really great and I was getting really successful and stuff. I realized, shit, why didn't anybody just tell me to breathe before? Like it was so stupid, but it was a very human moment. And with mindfulness, man, you can do anything, and anything that you were good at before, you're going to be the best at it. Like it's ridiculous.
Hell yeah, man. I can tell you firsthand, like, so anybody who, knows my story, like I found meditation through a yoga class that ended with a meditation, and the yoga teacher was using a gong. And it was when I was in a detox before I went to rehab. And this is like 7.5 years ago. And I laid down there and I don't know where I went, but I came back and I felt for the first time, like what I understood what people said when they say you can feel your aura and you can like almost like, I couldn't see it, but I'm like my whole body, like I was like, this is the highest I've ever been in my life. And I'm in a detox for a rehab for drugs. Like I was like, and this is free. I can just lay down and do this. And it was like my life completely changed. And I have meditated, I absolutely cannot say every day, but I've meditated consistently since then, as much as close to as daily as possible. And it's like now I've gotten in this groove where I set my alarm like either a half hour or 20 minutes before, like I need to wake up and get ready. And so I set my alarm and then I have the alarm for when I'm supposed to get ready. And I just set the alarm, put on some kind of, whether it be 532 hertz or 777 hertz or 1111 hertz, like all the different things to connect with whatever, my chakras and all this stuff. And I lay down and I feel like, cause that first time when that alarm goes off, I'm like, all right, I'm still so freaking tired. But after that meditation, like my day has started and like, I'm not tired anymore. And that it's almost regardless of how much sleep I get, like that's how much it's been helping me. And, recently I started a new job. So it's like I'm working 8 to 9 hours, then I'm at the gym, and with powerlifting, it's 5 to 10 minute rest in between sets. So my workouts are like 4 hours long. So it's like I leave my house at 8 a.m. I get home at 10 p.m. And like all I do when I'm here is eat and sleep and then go out for the next day. So sometimes I'm only getting 6 hours of sleep, but it like almost doesn't matter. Like because of that meditation in the morning, it's like it's turning, you might know more than I do about what's physically happening, but like I'm just able to it's just like go, like my body just turns and just go and
Holy Spirit activate.
Yeah, like exactly. Like, that's like what, like I turn into a Power Ranger and the suit comes on and it's like, can I just go?
Yeah, man. A lot of personal trainers and so-called health gurus might smack me for saying this. However, I suggest that everybody rest for 2 to 3 minutes between their sets, make the set really count, and then be mindful during that rest period. Don't be looking at your fucking phone. Whatever's happening on Instagram is not important, but take very, very deep and very intentional breaths. And you will notice that the amount of pump that you get, the gains that you get, the muscle gain that you get, everything just skyrockets because the body is then understanding that, yeah, we're going to work on this and then we're going to transition. We're going to go back to homeostasis and prepare for another session. And it's like when you're living life mindfully, and something like going to the gym can become so much more pleasurable because when you get those endorphins and stuff, that endogenous morphine, then it can actually do its job. Like nature doesn't make mistakes. And there's a reason why you have that response. It's a part of your healing process. So when you can maximize and understand that lifting weights is a healing process. And they've even said that people who are like bodybuilders and stuff like that have the capacity, if they're aware, to grow spiritually faster than people who practice yoga. That's all you need to know right there. So,
that's beautiful.
Get out there and you really make a really great, how do I want to say that? You make a really great healing application out of going to the gym. So instead of mindlessly going and just, you got to be the idiot that lifts as much weight as possible, you lift it as fast as possible. You really put all your focus into it and really put your breath on everything. You will find that you won't get like winded as easily when you're being mindful. And I'm not the buffest guy on the planet, but I work out 5 days a week at least. And it's been a big part of my mindfulness journey to really enjoy doing everything, even the stuff that fucking hurts. And, you don't notice it when you're doing the mindful stuff. And like you said, I love to take advantage of those wake up times and that transition into sleep time, I find are some of the best times to just count your blessings, but also be mindful and survey your thoughts and just relax and actually be inside your body, be with yourself. Like I get up every day and people laugh at me. They're like, you're the happiest fucking guy I've ever met. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like I'm the grumpiest guy you've ever met. You just don't know it yet. I'm mindfully an asshole. But just as soon as I feel I'm coming back into waking consciousness, I'm just like, man, I'm about to wake up. And my attitude is literally, I get to wake up. Oh, but people don't get that contrast when they're going about living somebody else's life. They're working a 9 to 5 and it sucks. They're playing out all these subconscious programs, and so they've attracted the worst possible relationship and it sucks. Like, so anybody that's getting on to a journey of trying to work on themselves and become better rather than just feel better about their shitty life, like they're not going to get what that means. That, oh, to be in the mindset that, oh shit, I get to wake up today. And so as soon as I'm about to wake up, my arms are already stretched behind my head like this. And I'm like, man, I'm so grateful for this day of life. Like today's going to be the best day ever. Like,
Well, so I saw, and I said this on, when I was talking to my, a good friend of mine, Doc May Diet is his like Instagram handle. And I saw this video on Instagram that said, this gentleman was, talking to this group of people, and he was like, so, what if I was to give you $1 million, but you get it today, but you won't wake up tomorrow? And then everyone's like, well, no, because like, what's the point of the $1 million? Like, you're basically paying me $1 million to die, right? So like, then he's like, well, what about $5 million? And everyone's like, but I don't wake up tomorrow. And then he's like, well, what about $100 million? And the point he was making, he's like, there's no amount of money that's worth not waking up the next day. So that means waking up in the morning is worth more than any amount of money that you could possibly get. So once you're grateful and you can harness that when you wake up, you've unlocked the next level of like of gratitude, and living in gratitude is like has been it's I mean, it saved my life. Like I talked about how I went to rehab. Like, you don't go to rehab when you're in a good place, right? Like I hated myself. Like, that's why I did all that shit. And like, once I swear it was like that meditation, like it changed my life. So it impacted me so deeply. And it just put me on this journey of like, then I found about Tibetan bowls and crystal bowls and then about the chakras and how there's 7 chakras and 7 colors and 7 music notes. And it's all these frequencies that are paired with each freaking chakra, and like how these energy centers, right? Like they're just different, parts of the body that secrete hormones for people that think this is like some woo-woo nonsense, right? Like they're just all the different parts of your body where hormones are secreted. That's what the chakras are. Like, so when tapping into gratitude, like, and obviously, I'm human, right? Like what you said, like people might view you as the happiest person. That's because you fucking work hard at it, right? Like I'm happy and grateful because I work hard at harnessing those two emotions, right? And it's not that I'm always happy. Like, life is about balance. Like, things happen. It's just how I perceive them and how I react to them now, and how I respond to them, really, not how I react, how I respond. That's when I know I'm being mindful, when I'm responding and not reacting. And those are the things that those concepts right there have dramatically changed my life. And like, I know you're someone who knows, what I'm talking about with all this stuff. Like, someone that might be watching this might be like really confused at this. And all I can say is like, like if you can harness gratitude, like you can do anything. Like just like you were saying about mindfulness, and it will make every part of your life better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Gratitude is not a trend, and gratitude is not a conditional thing. So, a shell shock for a lot of my clients when they come to me is, most of those people have already heard somewhere on the internet that gratitude is a frequency and you can raise your vibration and all this BS. And that's great. But there's just so much more to it that you're not going to get from an internet meme or a motivational video or whatever the case is. You have to, and I want everyone to get this, so I'm going to say it slowly. You have to embody the understanding of what it feels like to be loved by the creator of everything in order to be grateful. You can write a list of 50 things that you're grateful for, but the mere fact, it's right there in the language, being grateful for is conditional. And so when your gratitude is conditional, anything can come and knock you off because you don't have true purpose in those words, in those possessions, in those things you're grateful for. Until you understand fully the feeling in your body of what it means to be grateful and to be loved, you ain't really doing a whole lot. And so that's why so many people come to me and they want to know, well, I've been writing these gratitudes and stuff. And, by in the middle of the day, I don't really feel so great and stuff like that. Like, how are you at peace? And I say, because I'm able to be with the reality, the collective reality, not just my internal reality. Like, I know I can only do what I do and other people will do what they do. And so there's this world that I live in that I am fully in charge of. And I am fully in charge of being sovereign. I'm not in charge of what other people consider to be sovereign or not. I'm not in charge of what they consider to be empowering or disempowering. I can only monitor my own consciousness and try to live with the fullest capacity of that from point to point throughout the day, from day to day, week to week, month to month. And then the creation that comes from my actions from that is what gives me an internal sense of well-being and peace that brings me gratitude and love. So me writing that I'm grateful for a cup of coffee means jack squat, right? If you're there, you're there. But what I'm trying to tell people who don't know that yet is there's another point further beyond that, that once you get there, you won't go back. Like, things won't be conditional. People won't be conditional. You'll really understand, even when assholes come at you with shit, that, oh yeah, like, I got all this other stuff to be grateful for. Like, this person's just another blip on the radar. Like, what am I even fretting about? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to bring some very human things to the table when I'm talking about this, so that if there's like average people out there that listen, might pass by and see a naked guy on their feed, be like, yo, what's this guy doing? We can get to him, because the more people like that we can get to, who are searching for something but they don't know what it is yet, the better off I think we're going to be in terms of a collective. Because, okay, so we've got a pandemic going. um we're not sure if Omicron's hiding in the bush waiting to jump on somebody, or, because there's stealth Omicron now and all this kind of shit. Like, if your kids are about to go back to school, you can wear the mask all day, but you get like a 15-minute break where you're maskless. And so the virus knows for exactly 15 minutes not to bother you during that time. Like, that's a part of the collective dream. I'm sorry, brother. Don't cry.
It's freaking.
So, like, that's a part of the collective dream, but there's actually, in the presence of that, never been a better time to be alive and to make full use of your consciousness. And it's never been a better time to dive into the esoteric and the occult, which those words for a lot of people still go, oh no, it's scary stuff. And, those words just mean hidden, unknown, unseen, right? It's just wisdom. And what I really want to say here is that, like, we're always running programs, and a lot of people would have heard that before, but they still don't really fully get what that means. And when you are being mindful and you learn how to embody the understanding of what it feels like to be grateful and loved, then you can manage all that stuff. And, you know, you'll be watching a movie and, you know, Marvel Avengers, and you realize, holy shit, they're trying to program me with stuff before they do it. Maybe I should turn off this fucking movie. Like, yeah, and maybe I should go read a book, or maybe I should go paint or make some music or do something that's going to actually bring me some joy. So I'll jump off into the details of that controversial shit in a bit when you ask me about it, because I'm sure you will.